Okay, you guys, so we're going to start from our Google Drive. So if you have your computer open with me, hopefully you do, you're going to type drive.google.com to access your, sometimes I need to pause and just type in order to get there. Okay, so I don't know where it's going. It's going to my Steam drive for some reason. Okay, so we're going to open up our Google Drive. And I have created a folder already, but for you, what I want you to do is go ahead and click New, click Folder, and title it Google Sheets 101. Just so, is we're going to be making a whole bunch of different sheets. If you want to go ahead and add your copies and into this Google Sheets 101, then you can have access to them later. We're going to be doing probably, I think, like 5 or 6 different practice spreadsheets in all of the different categories that we're talking about today. I've tried to break up the videos so they're nice and short. So you'll be turning in just one of those spreadsheets. So house them all into one folder, make your transition kind of nice and neat here, and start there. So I've already made one, so I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to dump into my Google Sheets 101 course. There we go. Okay. So from here, yours is empty because you just made it. So mine has the spreadsheets we're going to be working on. I'm going to go up here to New. And we are within the Holy Trinity of Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. We're going to click on Sheets. And you're going to just create a new blank spreadsheet. As I talked about in the previous video, it automatically defaults to Untitled. We're going to go ahead and create a practice basic field trip sheet. Sure, we're going to stop there. Okay, so field trip. Sounds good. So you've got columns, you've got rows we've talked about before. Each cell has its own cell address. So, you know, this one that I have highlighted just randomly is cell B2. It's in column B. It's in row 2. So that's B2. Okay. So what we're going to do to start with is we're going to do our titles here. So let's start with a date. When did we get the permission slip turned in from the kid? We're going to just put the name of the kid. Sure. We're going to say permission slip. And then we're going to say paid money. Okay, so those are the titles of our columns. Right here, we're going to just make up a few names. So on mine, I'm going to put Maddie, Tim, Jack, Jesus, Anna, Sophia, and George. Okay. Pretend. We're pretending. Okay. So under the date category, you can, of course, just go ahead and type in a date. You know, like yesterday was the 28th. So we can obviously do that. Or we can go into, this is kind of, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. This is maybe an advanced technique, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. We're going to go up to data. We're going to grab data validation. And we're going to change this criteria here. Instead of list from a range, we're just going to drop it down to date. And we're just going to say save. That's it. So now what happens within this cell, I can double click on it and their nice little calendar pops up for me, which is so awesome. Now, the other thing you can do within these cells is you can copy and paste from one cell to the next. So like I just copied that cell and I'm pasting it down below. So let's say all of these students turned them in today. Let's go ahead and say, though, that, and my formatting is slightly different when I do that, but you can change the formatting of that if you want to. Let's just say, though, that I want to copy this information down. So this cell is highlighted. I get this blue square in the corner, which if I hover over it, I get this crosshair plus sign looking dilly bob. If I click right there and I drag down, it will copy the date down into the other ones, but it's actually moving within a sequence. So you'll notice that it goes the 29th, the 30th, and then December 1st. So in this instance, if you wanted to say that all of these kids turned it in on the 29th, you're going to have to do your copy paste maneuver in order to get the exact same date. So you can't do that kind of data fill by dragging and dropping using this maneuver if you've got a data validation. So just be keeping that in mind. But over here, however, if we know that all of the kids have turned in their permission slip, let's just pretend it's a normal thing. You're collecting it as the kids are turning it in. Sure. You know, but if you knew that all of these kids turned it in, I'm going to delete the data. I'm just going to highlight it, and I'm just going to hit the delete button to clear the data. I mean, that's nothing new, right? But let's say this kid, I know that all of these kids turned it in. I just want to show you that trick one more time. So I've highlighted the cell. I've clicked over the crosshair section. I'm sure it's got a name. I just can't think of it right now. And I'm just going to drag and drop, and it will copy fill all of that information. But let's say over here, not everybody has turned in or paid their money. Sure. So we filled that in. Another cool, a few quick, easy, simple things. You can highlight an entire section, and then you can go up here to this paint bucket and select a color to identify that that's the date range or something. I don't know. We also briefly mentioned too that you can move entire columns. So I'm going to go up here to the top. Notice how when I clicked on the A, it highlighted the entire column. And then I can press and hold and drag. Oops. There we go. I need my cursor to be that little hand guy. Do you see that? So I need it to be the hand. If I grab it and press and hold and drag it, you see how I can move the column to the opposite end. And I can go back up here and do undo, which also can be Control Z. Sorry. If you highlight an entire column and then press your fill button, notice that it's going to fill the entire column. So before I just copied the specific section and just did a color, whereas this will color the entire row. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there, because if I do too many other things, we're going to kind of bump into the category of talking about other content for other videos. So let me just double check. I have all of the things I wanted to talk about. You also can do the fill maneuver to the right and left columns, just so you know. And you also can drag and drop individual cells like we drag and dropped the columns. And don't forget, you can do the same thing to your rows as well.